Today we are going to speak about online learning in general. I would like to show you a little bit more about us, who we are, what we do, because there is one important thing that I need to mention. I will be putting a lot of emphasis on that. For us, the online learning or e-learning wasn't just a necessity because of COVID. We've been already running online courses, online masters since 2010. So it's been something that we've been working on this part. We've been actually trying to improve this part, and it's something that for us, it's actually one of our core businesses. So we will go through that, and I will just explain why and why it is important. But before that, I would like to speak a little bit more about the overall online learning. I would like to go through some best practices and recommendations for both educators and learners. Especially for the learners, I think that this is something that it's very good to share with them. And then, like I said, I will just go straight to the point and explain who we are and what we do. So to start with the introduction to online learning in general, like I said before, for us, this wasn't a necessity, like for many other businesses, like for any other educational institutions, because when COVID hit us and hit us really hard all around the world, many education centers and institutions, schools, universities, were up to the task to adapt the online learning, something which was very new for some, very strange for the other ones, and it was very complicated for the majority of us. For us, like I said, we were lucky because we've been already working on this, and because of that, I'd like to kick it off with one simple thing. The simple thing is, when we are thinking about online learning, what is actually online learning for all of you? For me, personally, it's a very short description, which is a learning experience that could be tailored to everyone's schedule. This is, for me, one of the main advantages of online learning. I'm going to speak about many different benefits, and I'm also going to speak about the often mentioned critiques of online learning. But for me, when we are thinking about the whole concept of online learning, wherever you are, whatever time zone you live in, you could always study for your own benefits, or you could always try to learn in some virtual space. So if you are going to look at the key stakeholders of online learning, it's very important to realize that there are several of those, but there are two main. The educators, so we are the transmitters that are trying to transmit some kind of knowledge, share some kind of knowledge, and get across some kind of knowledge. And on the other hand, there are the learners, so often students or different kind of learners in general that are trying to receive something that we want to share. This is a very basic and simple relationship. However, we need to understand what are the objectives of both. Like I said before, the educators are trying to share some kind of knowledge, and the learners are trying to basically receive some kind of knowledge. That's the same as in the traditional educational system. However, the difference is that in a traditional, the most common one, it's a very simple one because it's usually face-to-face or within a classroom, and we are very much used to that. In the online learning, we have to accept that we have to do it through some kind of virtual space. And this virtual space should be able to fulfill the needs of both parties. Now, when we are thinking about virtual space, obviously later, I'm going to show you how we do it, but I don't want to scare you with it. I don't want to just put the main point that you have to have a proper virtual campus or whatever. There is no need. You only need to accept that all sort of online learning needs to be done in some virtual space. We will go through that, but to continue, let's speak about some critiques. Those points that often are people reflecting to when they are thinking about, oh, online learning, what is it? This is not good because it's very impersonal, because it's distant, because it's not engaging, because there is some lack of progress and we cannot check the progress because it's online. We don't know, we cannot control it. We cannot check if the students actually were properly doing the exams or some activities, or if somebody else did it for them. And also some technological issues might arise, bad connection or the overall connection issues. Sometimes it could be the overall problem with some learners to connect or to use different technologies or new technologies. Especially, for example, at the Institute, the majority of our students that we have are 30 plus something. We have obviously some younger students, but the majority of our students are executives or athletes. It wants to say that many of them are digital immigrants. They weren't born when in the digital age. They were born in the analog age or in the previous age. So for them to get used to different technologies was something they were supposed to learn, and it wasn't something simple for them. So when we are thinking about the critiques, sometimes, yes, it's true. Online learning could be impersonal, could be distant, could be not engaging. We couldn't have the possibility to check the progress. There obviously might be technological issues, as we know, and internet connection issues. It's very complicated. It's not simple sometimes. And I understand that all these barriers are here, and we have to fight through those. We have to find a way how to make it happen, how to go through these, and how to actually surpass these obstacles. On the other hand, let me just show you some benefits, because there are definitely benefits of online learning as well. What are the benefits? Flexibility. There are no boundaries. Connection. I know that right now you could tell me, like, Lukas, you just mentioned that connection is a critique. Now you are saying that it could be a benefit. I will let you know why and when. Specialization and adaptability. Now, these could be very broad, very just the general benefits, but let me just clarify a little bit more about these. Flexibility, this is very important because, like I said in the first slide, the online learning should be able to adapt to your needs and to your schedule, not the other way around. So in online, you don't have to be physically in a class, that it's taking place at some particular time and some particular day in some particular space. You could be wherever you want. And obviously, if you cannot make it, you could always watch the recording. So the flexibility related with the time, with your own localization, it's very, very important. It's one of the main benefits of the online learning. No boundaries. Basically, this is also very important because we have many students from all around the world. And it's amazing to have students in one virtual classroom that are coming from different parts of Asia, from different parts of Africa, from different European countries, from the whole North America or South America. So there are no geographical boundaries. In online learning, you could be wherever you want to be, speaking globally, speaking locally. You don't need to be directly based in Dublin in order to have a class or have a meeting or have a possibility to transmit the knowledge to somebody who is completely on the other part of the country. So there are no actual boundaries. Connection, like I said before, this could be a very controversial point. So let's go through it a little bit. The connection, it's a huge benefit if we are prepared to make some kind of connection and stay connected with our learners in general. What I'm referring to, you will see it a little bit later when I will be speaking about some benefits and some tips that could be interesting. But for me, even though we are speaking about something online, which could be distant, if we will find a way how to connect with the learners in general, sometimes on a global base, sometimes on the individual base, because sometimes it's not simple to connect with the whole group. Sometimes we need to choose some kind of different approach, maybe more individual approach. But once we will manage to connect, the whole online learning experience could be much, much better and enjoyable for all involved parties. Specialization. This is another point that allows us to, for example, do a master, online master from the completely other part of the world that is related with something really specific. So instead of just traveling, changing my life and going to different country where I want to study master in football business, I could do it online. I could do it perfectly online, and there is no need to change my actual way of living at that moment. All I need to accept is that perhaps I will need to allocate some extra amount of hours per week to study. And then the adaptability. The online learning, like I said before, should be able to adapt to you and not the other way around. So when we are thinking about the traditional learning experience or studying experience, it's where you basically go to the university, you sit down, and you need to follow the classes, you need to follow the timetable, you need to follow the time schedule, etc. In online, there is no need, because if you cannot make it to the online session, you could always watch the recordings. You could always ask your professors or your educators to clarify some points. And this is very beneficial in general. Okay, let's move a little bit forward and let's speak about the main characteristics of successful online learning. This is something, the 3 points I'm going to share right now are based on my own experience. And by the way, even though Barry said that I should be an expert, maybe I'm not an expert. Often when I took over my job and my position at the Institute, my background, my official background is related with sports marketing and sports sponsorship. I've been working many years in this particular area, working with big brands, with agencies, with sports entities. And I was also a former student of JCI. So when I got the opportunity to take over this job, I was thinking about it for a while. And then I just realized like maybe I could take advantage of my experience as a student and make the changes that I actually didn't like when I was a student. So the whole online learning concept that we've been following for the last 3-4 years, it's basically based on the fact that what the students would like to have. So when we are speaking about the original or the main characteristics of successful online learning, we need to think about proactivity versus being reactive. What I'm referring to, those of us that been able to teach in a class and have some kind of experience with sharing the knowledge and transmitting the knowledge in a class, in a proper classroom, not virtual one, we most probably are used to the fact that the overall status quo of this kind of educational method, it's based on the fact that we are basically speaking and the group that it's here, that is there, is just listening to us. So we are being proactive and the learners are being reactive. Obviously, when we will start with some kind of debates, when we will start with some kind of discussions, with some kind of activities, it changes a little bit, but mainly the official status quo, if I'm a learner and I'm going to a class, is I'm going to sit down and listen to you because you have something to tell me. In online, it's the other way around. The learners should be proactive and the professors more reactive, or professors or educators more reactive. I know that this could be, again, a little bit controversial because then you could ask me like how to make them to be proactive. And we will speak about that. But in general, if the online learning should be successful, it has to come from the curiosity of the learners, where the educators are going to be a little bit more reactive and they will be here to help them, to guide them, to make them enjoy the overall process. But we cannot achieve, if we have like 40, 50, 100 virtual students, we cannot accept the fact that we are going to make a very individual approach to every single one of them. It's almost unthinkable. It's very difficult to think about something like this. And we have to accept it, that the proactivity often has to come from the learners, and the educators are here to guide them, to help them, and to accompany them. Another point that I would like to mention is the communication. This is one of the key points in general. It doesn't matter if it is education, if it is every single aspect of the business world, it's based on communication. In online, especially in the online learning, it's very important to communicate properly, to try to be motivational, try to show them that we really care about the fact that they will learn with us, and we want to actually help them to learn, and we want to motivate them. And we could do it often with good communication and motivational communication. And then obviously personalized experience. I said before that it's very difficult if you have a huge group to personalize the whole experience for every single one, but you could always treat the whole group in a way that you will try to make them enjoy the whole course. So like I said before, my background, it's related with those particular areas within the Institute and also in different organizations. I'm doing a lot of lecturing, I'm teaching sports marketing, fun engagement in sports sponsorship. And I'm always trying to find out before I will start a little bit more about my group, because each group is different. We cannot generalize. Every single group will be different. So what worked for one group perhaps will not work for the other group. So instead of obviously focusing on personalized experience of every single student, I'm trying to understand the whole group a little bit better through a simple questionnaire prior to the course, understanding a little bit more about them, knowing where they come from, seeing their overall social status. I mean, if they are seniors in a way that they have been already working in the business side for a longer time. If they're younger, I'm trying to adapt the content of the whole course in a way that if they are, for example, top executives, I won't be mentioning or stating the obvious. I will be focusing more on the more complicated parts. On the other hand, if I'm having a course full of professional athletes or former athletes, I should suggest, or I could think that most probably they have never studied before. So the studying for them, or the course with me, will be one of the first overall experience with the education for them after a long, long time, because we have At the Institute, we have a lot of professional football players. We have several Champions League winners. We have Olympic gold medal winners. So we have professional athletes that spend the whole or the majority of their professional life dedicating to their sport and trying to be better, trying to win instead of studying. So for them, we try to help them and we try to personalize the overall experience in a way that they will be able to go through it. So every single group is different, and to offer some kind of personalized experience will be always one of the difference makers in order to make the whole experience more successful or less successful. So I'm going to speak right now about some best practices and some recommendations. What I'm going to do, I will show you, those of you that are coming or are a little bit familiar with the world of football, most probably you know when we are speaking about our founder, Johan Cruyff, the number he's been wearing. It's the famous number 14. So basically, I'm going to show you 7 best practices and recommendations for educators and 7 best practices and recommendations for the learners. So obviously the symbolic number 14 will be represented here because it's something that we always try to, you will see it a little bit later when I will speak about us as an entity, that we are always trying to focus on that mythical number 14. So to start with, thinking about the best practices of successful online learning for educators, it's always, I will just show you once again, the basic status quo, the basic relationship where educators are trying to transmit or share some kind of knowledge with the learners, which are the receivers. And in online, it happens in the virtual space. We will speak about the virtual space because there are many different possibilities what we could consider a virtual space, but we will go through that. So if we understand this, that the whole online, it's based on this simple relationship, let's just share some of the best, or in my opinion, some tips and hints that have been very helpful for me since I took over this position at the Johan Cruyff Institute. So basically, when we are thinking about it, you could read them obviously, but I will go through each and every one of them. And in the upcoming 7 slides, you will see more explanation about every single one. For me, it's important, the presentation, communication, virtual campus / virtual space in general, empathy, networking, emphasis, and the overall revision. What I'm referring to? When I'm referring to the presentation, it's very important that prior to the course, or at the very beginning of every single course or every single educational module, we need to be able to present ourselves, and we need to be able to present the whole course or the module we are going to trying to teach. Because if we will not do it, the students will be directly at the beginning, or the learners will be directly at the beginning lost. So if they will know who we are, they will know a little bit more about us. The presentation could be in form of a video, it could be in form of a longer message where we will basically describe ourselves, and not just who we are and what are our accomplishments. And often I'm sharing with my students my hobbies. I'm mentioning which teams do I support, which are my other hobbies, what are my favorite books, what are my favorite movies. I'm trying to show them that I'm a real person. I'm not just some kind of robot or chatbot or whatever, but I'm real human being, and I will be accompanying them throughout the course that is also real. So all the activities I'm trying to present the course, often I'm doing like at the beginning, the very first few days, a quick session when I'm just in 10-15 minutes presenting the key topics, the key activities that we will be having in the upcoming weeks that they will have with me. To do something like this directly humanizes you in the eyes of your learners, and it directly gives them a possibility and the feeling that, okay, even though this is online, I could understand that this is real. So even though we won't be able to see each other in a class, because this is one of the disadvantages. For example, when Barry was my student, the first time I met him, it was at his graduation party. So throughout the year, we've been going through a lot of battles. We've been going through a lot of online sessions, fortunately for him and fortunately for me. He was a very good student, and he definitely managed to go through all the things that we throw at him. But at the very beginning of the course, there were many different presentations and showing what this is going to be about, how we will be operating, and just setting up the rules. It's always very helpful to present us and the whole course and the whole everything that we want to share. Communication. I was often mentioning this word, and I was often explaining that how important this is, especially in online. At the beginning, when you will do the basic presentation, it's very important to establish all communication spaces, what I'm referring to. If we are speaking about some kind of proper virtual campus, to show them where you are going to communicate, where they can ask you questions, how they can reach you out. If it is not a proper virtual campus, and basically you will be communicating with them through emails, through some kind of leaving messages in different Dropbox or different Google Drives, whatever you will decide to work with, it's very important to set up the rules, to show where and how you will be communicating. So for example, often my students are asking for my personal or for my working mobile number. I could share it, but I directly let them know that whatever you will ask me through WhatsApp, it's not official channel. I'm not going to accept it. The official channel for me, it's an email. So if you want anything from me, just contact me by email, and I will usually reply very fast. The problem is that with WhatsApps, for example, for me, I don't consider it official. It's very useful. I know it's great to speak with your friends, with your family, but I don't consider it very professional in terms of if you have if you're taking care of 200 students. So for me, I always try to establish the all communication spaces at the beginning to make it clear where and how we can communicate. Then in terms of communication throughout the overall learning experience, I'm trying to communicate frequently and I'm trying to motivate. How so? So for example, it's not just a simple message like you need to finish the activity by the next week, because if not, you will not pass. That's not very motivational. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to send messages where I'm trying to perhaps mention if it is on Monday, especially obviously in our case, the majority of our students are crazy about sport. That's the reason why they started to study something related with either sports management, sport marketing, or sports sponsorship. So I'm always trying to mention some things that happen during the weekend in the world of sport, not necessarily online football, but everywhere, in order to break some ice, in order to motivate a little bit, in order to show them that, okay, this is not, again, a pre-prepared message that is just going to be sent automatically because it's Monday and this is the task you need to do. I'm trying to be, again, a little bit more human. Basically, I have a trademark of what I'm going to say. I like to offer some kind of human touch. So be careful if you are going to use this, because I have it. I have a copyright and trademark for that. I'm just kidding. It's very important to show them that in the communication that you care and you are actually trying to treat them not only as a big group or a small group or whichever group they are, but as a group of human beings, and you just want to be there for them as a human being, not as a robot. Nothing is automatized. Nothing is just pre-processed. And accessibility. Often my students are asking me how it is possible that you are replying almost immediately. Yes, that's a good question. I don't have any reply for that, but I'm trying to show them that if they contact me, they can get the answer at least in 24 hours. I mean, sometimes it's sooner, but I don't like to respond, to reply a little bit later. Because when I was a student, a long time ago, in 2011, I've done my first master. It was online master. And I got some, obviously, as it is obvious, as a student, I had questions. And I contacted some of my professors, and I'm still waiting on the reply. We're in 2021. They never got back to me. So showing that you're accessible and they can contact you will create or will increase the overall level of trust between you and the student. And this is where you could build more individual relationship, even though you are teaching a bigger group. Because if they will contact you, usually they will contact only you. They're not going to put the others in the same copy of the email, etc. So if you will have the possibility and you will show them that you can reply, and not just the basic reply, no, you could do that, but perhaps give them some 1 or 2 examples, show them that you really care and you care about their questions, they will be a little bit more hunger and curious to ask for more throughout the time. Again, it comes down to the fact that if I'm trying to do something, I'm trying to always think what the students could go through. It's one of the points I'm going to speak a little bit later, so I don't want to skip on that. But here I'm mentioning the virtual campus or virtual space. Like I said before, and like you will see, at JCI, the Johan Cruyff Institute, we have a proper virtual campus in place, which is a very nice and very user-friendly platform that students could use, and they have access to it all the time. However, it's not a necessity, because right now I cannot see your faces at the moment, but I can imagine that all of you are starting to roll your eyes and you're like, okay, I don't have any virtual campus. What is he going to even talk about? How can I share? I don't have any campus, I don't have anything. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get in contact with some of my students and speak with them. So again, virtual space. Try to help yourself with different Dropbox, with different Google Drives, with different clouds, where you could give some access to the learners to access different materials, different content, in order to download it and in order to have the possibility to have different kind of resources. So that's one of the main things, because when we are thinking about online learning, if it is only about the reading, students or learners will get bored. So if the only thing you are sharing with them are a lot of books, a lot of ebooks, a lot of academic articles, a lot of articles in general, it's okay. It's definitely helpful. But after a shorter period of time, they will get bored. So the variability, it's very important to share different types of resources, videos, reports, case studies, obviously some academic articles, some different articles, some podcasts, etc. The bigger the variety, the better for the learners, because they will not get bored easily. Other thing, whatever virtual space you will be using, try to create some kind of guidelines, some kind of guide, some kind of tutorials. Obviously, in our case, we are always providing different sort of tutorials. We are even prior to the official start of the course, we are doing some kind of two weeks of a pre-season where students could go through the understanding how the virtual platform is going to work. So they have 2 weeks to get familiar with it. But apart of that, we are providing a lot of different tutorials, a lot of different guides. So if, for example, in your case, to simplify it much more, you will be using basically some kind of Google Drive and Google shared documents like shared Excel, shared Word, etc. Explain them to you. Explain it. How are you going to work? How do you want to operate? Provide a brief 1-2 pages of explanation how you will be working. So the students could go through it, or the learners could go through it, and they could check what will they need to find and how they will need to operate throughout the upcoming weeks or months, throughout the thing that you will want to share with them. Because the more, the easier you will make it for them, the better. And also technical support in case of something more comprehensive, like it could be the virtual platform that we are having. It's very important to have, I'm not saying 24 hours because that's not doable, but to have a fast technical support. So if it is something simpler, like just sharing a Google Drive folder, if they need some kind of technical support because they don't know how to open it, because they don't know how to access it, because they have some kind of struggles, it's good if you will, again, provide some kind of tutorial, if you will provide some kind of very brief guide where you will just put 2 or 3 screenshots of the steps they need to do in order to enter it. Just with that, you are already saving time by receiving many questions of, I cannot access it, I don't like it, it doesn't work. Because if you will actually be proactive in this case, and in this sense, you could help them to make the overall experience for the learners a little bit better and save some time for yourself, because you won't need to reply on many different questions related with that. Continuing, I was mentioning the word empathy before, and I would like to go through it a little bit more, because some of those things that I'm going to speak could be absolutely normal, and you already know them, but let me just go through it a little bit, because patience is very important. I could imagine, and it happens to me many times when I'm receiving through the official communication channel, I was sharing the instructions, I was explaining what they need to do, and in a few days, I will just receive a message like, I don't know what to do. So obviously, the first reaction in my head is like, wow, you cannot read? Why are you not reading the instructions? Obviously, this is never the reply I'm going to give the student. The reply is, no worries, I will just guide you through it. Look, check this message I was sharing a couple of days ago and have a look at it. If you still have some questions, feel free to ask me. And just like that, you are showing your patience. You are not making them feel upset. You're not making them feel silly, which is also related with my last point here. No question is a silly question, because students, especially if they are adults, if they are older, they don't like to ask. They are scared to ask because they are not children anymore. And they feel like, okay, I should be knowing this. So they are scared. Basically, they are scared to ask. They feel embarrassed. They don't feel happy about asking. So if from the beginning, you will show them that no question is a silly question, for them, it could be huge help. and it could be very motivational for them, and it could be something that will again make the difference in the overall experience for them. And then obviously with the empathy, it's really related to the fact that understand possible struggles of the learners. We have to go through the fact that every single learner, every single student is different, has different kind of computer literacy, has different kind of experience, has different kind of connection. Everything is different. So like I said at the beginning, it's very complicated to generalize. It's almost impossible. However, if we try to understand their struggles and we will try to adapt to them a little bit, it could be very, very helpful for them. So what I'm referring with this is the fact that, for example, at the Institute, we have a lot of professional athletes, like I already said before. And for many of them, they don't know how to use Word or PowerPoint or Excel because they've never needed to use it. I mean, if they are professional football players, that actually some of them really won the Champions League and they're still playing and they already think about the future, which in my opinion, it's admirable because you are somebody that already make more money than I will ever see in my life. But you still want to educate yourself because you understand the fact that, okay, after your career, which will finish, if you're lucky, in your late 30s, there is more than half of your life ahead of you, and you just want to be productive. So you'll understand the fact that you need to learn, but obviously you don't have the tools because you have never studied. You probably went through some kind of elementary school, maximum high school when you were 14, 15, 16, and that's it. Since that time onwards, you could have read books, you could have do some kind of free courses, but you have never actually properly studied something. So for them, we're trying to give them more possibilities to prepare them for it. We try to offer them some kind of supportive courses, extra courses where they could go through how to use different tools like Word, Excel, Microsoft Office, etc. Because if we will understand the possible struggles of our learners, we will prepare for it. It's definitely a huge advantage and huge difference maker in their eyes once they will start with us. Because if they will be ready for what's next, it will be much, much easier, much, much enjoyable for them. Networking. Maybe this is more complicated for us, but obviously this is very important to, in general, to think about the fact that if you are doing something online, the learners will barely participate altogether in person. So you need to find a way how to create some platforms for them to participate. Obviously, Zoom, all these kind of tools like Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, etc., etc. There are so many of them right now, obviously. Could be one way. But sometimes it's complicated for them to just log in to participate. Again, I will go back to those previous points. We, for example, for all of our platforms that we are using, Zoom, Google Meet, etc., we've provided tutorials. So the students could follow simple steps, how to log in, how to participate. We're trying to encourage them to participate by organizing sessions like you are doing right now with somebody of a specific profile. I'm trying to put myself in a pedestal, which is obviously not the case, but we're trying to invite, like AONTAS is doing, specific speakers from different fields that could be interesting for the students to participate, because they not only could learn something new, hear from somebody else from a particular field, but also get in touch and see other students or other colleagues that they have. We're also trying to reward some participation. So for example, those that are participating in specific sessions we are organizing, they could get some extra percentage to the grade. They could get some specific content or premium content that will be shared only with them and not with those that cannot participate. Obviously, if they cannot make it for that particular time and they will contact us like, okay, I cannot make it, we will still share the recording with them and they could still get the premium content or etc. So rewarding, sometimes it's not always the key, but sometimes it's very important to find a way how to reward, because obviously you cannot just reward for everything. But there are specific sessions that are being rewarded because we do believe that it's important that they will participate, and not only to listen, but also actively participate amongst them and to actually get to know each other among them. So point number 6, emphasis. This is maybe related with the point number 1 when we are presenting the whole structure of the course, the beginning, and presenting ourselves. But throughout the course, it's very important to put the emphasis on the dates, on the important resources, and on some crucial activities. This is something that you could say at the beginning, but often the learners are not going to pay attention, or they will forget, or they will have other things on their mind. So it's always good if there is some kind of a deadline for some kind of key activity, to just remind them, okay, guys, in 2 weeks, you need to finish this. Are you going to be able to do so? If not, obviously we can discuss it. Do you need some kind of help from us? Can we help you with something? The emphasis on important resources. It's very important because throughout the different courses we are doing, there are different resources we want them to check. And sometimes if you will just say it at the beginning, they could forget. But if you will be reminding it to them like from time to time, it's good because they will be able to actually go through it and check several parts we want them to check. And then lastly, revision in general. It's very important that once, if you have some proper schedule or proper structure of the course in some proper virtual platform, check the dates, check the whole course, check the deadlines, check everything, check all the resources and links, because if you will do it, you will avoid any kind of misunderstandings. The same goes, doesn't matter if you're only sharing some kind of a document that you redacted. It could be some kind of content, educational content that you would like to share with them. And you are just going to recycle it in the next edition, or you are just using more or less the same document every single year. Check the resources, guys, because if not, you know that if you are using some kind of external resources, be it from YouTube, be it from other external web pages, those have the tendency to stop existing after a shorter period of time. So it's a very bad thing if you will just share something with your students and there are several links or hyperlinks that are not working, because they will feel like, okay, what is this? This is not good enough. They will feel, I don't know, they will feel frustrated. They will feel not happy at all. So check it always. For example, prior to every single course that we are running, we are trying to check if all the hyperlinks are working, if all the links are correct, if all the videos are good. It's the topic, or it's the task of every single professor. But I'm doing it as well. I'm doing double check sometimes. I know that sometimes it's difficult. I know sometimes it's not always possible, but we are trying to avoid as many possible errors as possible. Because if you will show it and the students will detect it, in general, the credibility of the whole course could go south. Okay, so those were the 7 tips for educators. Now let's move on a little bit and continue with the learners. Some of them are very important, obviously. I would say all of them, but some of them could be more common, some of them less. So time management, again, communication, because the communication, like you will see very, very soon, goes for both ends, for the educators, for the learners. Proactivity, learning strategies, logistics, patience as well, and healthy lifestyle. So let me just guide you through these a little bit. I think time management is very important. It's for all of us, but I would go more for the learners in general, because in my opinion, this is something that has to be done and has to be done properly. So when you think about it, you need to set some time aside for learning. You need to understand that if you're, for example, we are always using this analogy with our athletes, that it's the same like going for training sessions. If you're a professional athlete, you know that you have to train every single day, sometimes twice per day. The same goes for the learning. You need to find some time to study. So if you will share these kind of tips with the learners in general, this could be very, very helpful. Deadlines. There usually are deadlines in our courses, and they need to learn how to work within the deadlines. We could be flexible from time to time, but it's very important that the deadlines are being respected. I'm not sure what's your experience, if you are strict with the deadlines or not, but it's very important that to put a lot of emphasis for the learners in general, so they will be able to track their deadlines in general. And it's also another thing which is very important to share with the learners in general. It's the distractions. So try to make them see that minimizing distractions is very important, instead of just because it's not the same reading one article for several hours, but with completely no interest, because in the meantime, you're checking your mobile phone, you are checking your Facebook, your Twitter, all kinds of social media accounts, or reading with actual attention. So it could reduce the overall time you will spend with that if you can focus on shorter period of time in doing something instead of just having all types of distractions and waiting until the last moment. This is one of the things I'm always trying to put a lot of emphasis when I'm speaking with my students, to make them see that if you will leave everything until the last moment, you could struggle, because then you won't be sleeping most probably several nights, or you could be having some kind of problems to finish what you need to finish. So communication in general, be proactive in communication, ask for clarifications, be active in communication with fellow students. This is something that it's really, really important in general, because like the learners should be, like the educator should be communicative, also the learner should be communicative. Okay, I mean, I will be transparent about this. As you can see, I'm speaking about learners, and you can still see the educators here. So this is a typo. It's for learners. I'm sorry for that. Once I will be sharing this document with you, this will be changed. But I'm speaking about learners. So I just try to, speak about this because obviously it's a typo. Sorry for that. But
when you're forgiven, Lucas, it's okay. You're forgiven.
Thank you, because obviously I just wanted to break this kind of elephant in the room, because I was not happy with it, and I just realized, I was like, oh damn, this is not good. But yeah, I'm speaking about learners, obviously. So sorry for that, and thank you for understanding. So be proactive in communication. The professors or the educators, they don't see you every single day. They don't have the possibility to be have some kind of personal touch with you or with the learners in general. So if you will make them see that you cannot understand how they're feeling at that particular day, but they can share it with you by sending you a message or asking you for a quick call, this could be very, very helpful. I'm trying to always tell my students that whatever you need, I'm here for you. Doesn't matter if it is related with the particular module I'm teaching you, or if it is something else. Often students are coming to me with some things where I'm feeling more like it's more about psychology than the thing that I'm teaching, because they just want to speak with someone. So, but obviously they need to come on their own, because I cannot go and check on every single of the students. Are you okay today? Are you okay today? Do you need something? That doesn't work in the online. Also, they need to be proactive in asking for clarifications, because we could have amazing session. I could deliver one session that I'm really happy about with. And what happens? For me, I've done my job and I'm feeling good about it. But the question is, did the learners get it or not? So if they are not asking for anything, I do assume that they understood everything. However, I'm always inviting them. If something that I mentioned wasn't clear, you could rewatch it. You could check the sessions I was doing. You could check the messages that I was sending. And if you don't get it, just contact me. I'm here to help you. That's the reason why I'm here. And the same goes for the active communication with fellow students. It's very important that we are always inviting our students to create some kind of WhatsApp groups amongst them without professors or teaching staff or JCI staff. We don't want to be involved in that. If they want to speak bad about us, they could do it on their own amongst them. But the thing is that it's very good if they create some kind of study groups, smaller study groups between them, because it could be very useful for them to understand, because sometimes I don't get something, but the other one, yes. So together we could solve some stuff. Okay, proactivity. This is basically related with the communication, but in general, we try to encourage them to be proactive, to participate in different sessions, to ask for more resources if they are curious about something. So for example, often it happens in my module of fun engagement, which is mainly focused on football. I have students who are not that much involved in football, but they are involved in basketball, they're involved in other sports. And they are asking me like, do you have something else that is not related particularly with football? And I'm always trying to search for something. I already have a lot of materials and I'm just sharing it with them, because to showing them that, yes, I do have, it's creating a better relationship. It's creating a higher level of trust. And it's just showing them that we definitely care of what they want. Learning strategies. This is, again, very important because, for example, like I said before, we are trying to offer different kind of content. However, with each and every content, the whole learning strategies are different. So for example, if we are speaking about something that they need to read, we recommend them some techniques, what to do in order to be more effective in terms of reading and studying different materials. If it is a video content, we definitely recommend them if they are participating in a live session, just watch the session. Don't take notes, just listen and watch the session. Afterwards, you could rewatch it again because we are recording everything, and then they could start to take the notes. Regular participation. It's something that I know it's different, especially in our case. We have students from all around the world, so there is never a good time for everyone. So if we are doing session in the afternoon, it's not good for the students from Southeast Asia and Asia and Australia. On the other hand, if you are doing session in the morning, students from North America and South America, they just cannot. So we ask them to participate regularly in a way that even though if you cannot make it to the live one, watch the recording, watch it, learn from it, and contact your professor of that particular course that you are doing with some questions if you have those. Logistics. These are perhaps simple things for many of us, but for some students, this is completely new. So for example, and I'm not going to lie to you, it happened to me many times that I receive some kind of excuse like, Lukas, I'm sorry, I cannot hand in the work because my computer broke. And I'm like, okay, so send me just the version you have in a cloud. They're like, no, I didn't save it. So it could happen. I fully agree with that, but obviously try to make them see that if they are working on some kind of document, they could always save it. And nowadays, it's not very complicated to save it on cloud as well. So you have some kind of a backup. Gather your tech. This is very important because, like I said before, for the educators, it's very important to show that which kind of tools will be used and how to use them. For the students, on the other hand, it's important to understand since the beginning how to use everything that needs to be used. So if we will be using throughout the year Zoom, show them how the Zoom works. Do one session, one extra with them, just to show them how does it work in order to make it clear. And for them, make them understand how does it work. Share with them some kind of tutorial, share with them some kind of extra articles, how Zoom does work, so they could understand it. And then minimize the reliance on Wi-Fi. What I'm referring to, this is a very common thing. I mean, we have students from Africa, we have students from all around the world where connection is not always the best connection. So we are trying to create all sorts of resources that we want to share with them so they can download it. So they will need to connect once or twice to download the new stuff, and then they could be offline all the time because they could study that. And the same goes for all sorts of materials, ebooks, articles, podcasts, videos, everything is downloadable. So it means that they don't need to be connected. And the same goes for the live sessions. If they cannot participate live or because their connection is very, very bad, they could always watch the recording, which is a little bit less complicated with the unstable Wi-Fi. And then they could discuss it with us. I have some students that I've never had the possibility to have like a chat through the screen, but we are exchanging a lot of emails because of their connection. They just cannot find a good spot to connect and to have a stable Wi-Fi. So I'm always trying to encourage them. That's not a problem. Just send me a message. Try to show me that you care about the course, and we could exchange many emails. I could be I could explain a lot of stuff through email. It's the extra work for the educator, but it's really, really big difference maker for the learner. Patience. If the educator should be patient, the learners as well. They need to realize that the whole study, if they are studying, for example, a master program with us, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. The same goes for every single online course because it has its duration, it has some period of time that they will need to spend with that, and they cannot finish it in one day. I mean, there are obviously some online courses that could be finished in one day because they're dedicated or they are designed to be in one day. But if we are speaking about something longer, that it's going to take a little bit longer period of time, it's not a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Sometimes it's very important and useful to set up small goals for every day. So instead of just leaving everything until the last moment, try to work step by step. I know this is very easy to say and difficult to do because I'm the type of person that when I'm under a stress, I'm definitely more productive. It's something that I've been trying to avoid. I've been trying to work on that, but still there are many moments where I'm just because of different or higher workload, but I'm trying to finish everything in the last moment. I know it's not good, and I'm definitely not trying to give this example to my students. I'm trying to convince them that set up some small goals for every single day, because it will make the whole work and the whole study process easier for you. And stick to the learning process. What I'm referring to, it's very important that once you will start, if you have some kind of methods that you want to follow, stick with it. Don't try to change what is not going to work for you. There are students who, for example, I'm going to use example of my wife. When she's studying something, she is unable to study from the computer. All the materials she just needs to print. And I know nowadays, it's kind of ridiculous to have tons of papers at home, but yes, it's something because she needs it. She needs to highlight the important parts, and that's how she studies. So if this is something that's working for you, stick with it. Don't try to change something just because you want to be innovative or different. You could try, but if it does not work for you as a learner, don't even dare you to change it. So for us, it's very important to share these kind of things with the students. Show them that if you've been studying all your life in some way, just keep it. Don't try to change it. Then healthy lifestyle. I mean, this goes both for educators and for learners as well. But it's something that it's very, very important to stay healthy. I know it's very easy to say, difficult to do. What I'm referring with this, for me personally, sometimes I'm teaching like several hours online. In the meantime, I'm having different meetings. I'm working on different projects. So I'm working like 10 hours a day. And afterwards, I'm really tired. Mentally, I'm completely wasted. What I'm trying to do, I'm going for a run. That's me, obviously. I'm not saying that everyone has to be a runner. But sometimes some kind of exercise, it's very, very important, because it could help us to actually relax a little bit and think about different stuff. If we, for example, some of my colleagues, they're having small kids, obviously, that's a lot of exercise you have to do. So they are just spending the time with the kids, forgetting about everything. It doesn't matter if you're an educator or learner. It's something that you could definitely use some kind of exercise. Schedule breaks. If you feel like, okay, I need to go through a lot, it's always not good to take it by a single shot. Schedule some breaks, have some, either take a coffee, have a tea, whatever helps you. Just try to relax a little bit. Often I'm saying my students that, for example, when they're preparing for the final exams, when they're preparing for writing the final master project, I'm saying them, don't try to work like 10, 12 hours per day, because it will never work for you. If you feel like you cannot continue, just stop it. Watch a football game, watch a series, whatever you want to do, go for a walk, just stop. And obviously maintain healthy habits. I know it's not sometimes simple, but we need to stay in a good shape in order to perform in general. So I'm always trying to explain my students that if you will just don't sleep a lot, you will not eat accordingly, it will affect your studies as well. So again, I know that these could be simple. This could be like, okay, how am I going to convince somebody who is a who is a heavy smoker to stop or quit smoking? You won't, but you could always give them the recommendation. At least you will be in a good spot, that because you make them, or you try to make them see it. So the healthy lifestyle, it's definitely helpful, because if you will keep some kind of routine, so sleeping exact amount of hours, have some breaks, move yourself a little bit as a learner, it will help you. And obviously this is also for the educators as well. Sometimes it's so stressful in general to spend hours and hours behind the screen, speak with different groups, with different students, try to share what we want to share, fight with the whole virtual environment, that we just need to relax. We need to forget about everything. So whatever works for you, just use it, do it, because you're not a robot, and you cannot go through it all the time. So these were some tips that could be shared both with educators and learners. And let's see, I'm going very quickly through who we are. No worries, I'm not going to bother you, because this is not a product placement. I'm not going to present our portfolio, anything. This is not something, this is not part of the session. I just want to show you who we are, what we do, because there is much, much more to who we are than just a Cruyff Institute. You can see 5 different logos, and these represents the first one, Cruyff Foundation. So basically it's the main project that Johan always wanted. which was to create a proper foundation that will basically help kids with some kind of disabilities to socialize and incorporate into life through sport. This is the main activity that the World of Cruyff is actually working on, and that's to help the kids and people from different social environments to socialize through sport. We have Cruyff Football, which is another part of the business. Well, business, yeah, it's other part of the Cruyff world in general. And this is basically all the methodology of how to train and how to play football according to the philosophy of Johan. Then there is the Cruyff Institute. That's where I'm coming from. So that's all the educational part. We have Cruyff Library because we are trying to publish some articles, some books, we are doing some kind of publications. And we have Cruyff Classics, which is basically a line of apparel and shoes. The idea of Johan Cruyff Institute was because of the fact that when Johan was playing professional football, he never had the opportunity to properly study. So he always felt that the career one day will be over. And not all of the athletes wants to stay coaching. They would like to go perhaps to be the executives, to be sporting directors, managing directors, etc. Why not create a platform where we could help them to learn? And this is basically what Johan always wanted, to help professional athletes get education. And we basically, over the period of years, it evolved in something where people are coming to us in order to educate themselves and be a better leaders of sports management in general. I'm not going to speak a lot about different facts and figures. In total, we've had almost 10,000 students going through different be it on campus or online courses that we have or masters that we have all around the world. We have more than 90 programs. We have, as you can see, as a staff, we have many professors who are collaborating with us, but as a staff in Barcelona, we are only 25. So we are quite small group, but we are very effective, I do believe. In terms of our presence, basically our HQ, it's in Barcelona, but we are also having our institute in Amsterdam. Then we have representation in different parts of the world through some kind of agents. And also we are also presented in Lima in Peru and in Mexico City in Mexico with a proper institute. But around the world, we have different agents and representatives that are basically representing us. It's important to understand that what we want to do, it's basically to help the athletes to have a dual career. So study, meanwhile they are still playing, because many athletes are studying with us throughout their careers, and also to help the athletes in their transition to life after a sport. This was the vision of Johan, to help them to prepare for what's next. But lastly, we are also trying to help to make the whole sports industry more professional. There is still lack of transparency. There are still many people who were perhaps good businessmen, but they didn't perhaps properly understand, they didn't understand properly how the sport industry works and what are the main differences between any kind of industry and the sport industry. So we are here to help them to realize that and prepare them for the next step. How we do it? We try to build a strong identity through branding. We try to deliver a very clear message. So basically our main mission is to educating the next generation of leaders in sports management. We try to offer the content. For some of you that are coming from the marketing, perhaps, you know, the content is the key, especially nowadays, especially since COVID hit us. Many sports entities were focusing on creating a quality of content. So we have our own magazine where some experts, you could see one big expert here as well, are creating different articles and in order to tackle down different things that are, or different phenomena that are happening in the world of sport. And this is obviously always shared with all of our network of contacts and of our students. We are trying to get to our target groups all around the world through different, be it through fairs, be it through different fairs and summits, different agreements, etc. And obviously we also focus on our alumni. So we created a platform where our alumni had the access to do some kind of networking and be in touch with each other, also have access to some kind of benefits and discounts that we are offering. Like I said, I promised I will go very quick through it because this is not the part of the story, but in order to continue with this point number 4, I just wanted you to see who we are, what we do in a very, very, very quick way, because the main part, one of the key points I wanted to explain today, it's how we do the online learning. Obviously, we are trying to incorporate all the points I was mentioning before, but for us, the student, it's always in the center. It means that the student has the access to the virtual campus. That's where the magic happens. 24 hours per day, 7 days per week, and everything. So always. They could access it from all around the world. Obviously they need the connection, at least to connect, to log in, and to download all the things and the resources they could need. So what we are trying to do, as everything is centered around the student, there is always, in every single course they're doing, they have the proper professor. So if they're studying marketing, there is a proper marketing teacher. If they're studying facilities management, there is a proper teacher for that. If they're studying financial management, there is a proper professor. A part of that, there is also, well, that's me, that it's basically overseeing the whole online platform. And then there is our team, academic team, that is here to help them with all kinds of necessities they might have. So we want them to feel welcomed. We want them to feel accompanied. We want them to feel guided. Whatever they need, they know where and how to contact us. And usually we are trying to reply as soon as possible. The same goes for the professors. The majority of our teaching staff are having their own careers, so they are not full-time workers with us. We are basically having agreement with them. They are collaborating with us in specific modules they are teaching. However, when they teach their module, they know that there are some things that we expect from them and they need to follow those things. So like replying as soon as possible. The whole approach we are trying to follow, it's learning by doing. That's what Johan always wanted. And that's how he basically, when he was coaching, that's how he was coaching. We don't want the students to learn thousands of pages and memorize thousands of pages. That's pointless and it's not effective at all. We want to share, for example, how our all the structure of our courses are based on the theoretical part, which is to kick off the course, to get them in the same starting line before we will start with the practical part and final project. It means that the students first get some theory through different resources, like I was mentioning before. Then they have the possibility to apply it on some case studies, on some fictional activities or real case scenario activities. And then in the final project of that particular course, they need to put it all together and do it or apply it on some topic that it's close to them. So they could, for example, choose some kind of, if they're working for some kind of club and they are doing my marketing course, I'm inviting them to create a marketing plan. So like this, they're able to get the theory and understand what needs to be done, practice it, and then actually apply everything on something more tangible, something which is of their own choice. In order to do so, we are offering, we like to call it Learning 3.0, so different flexible schedules, different learning environments and technologies, different ways how to connect, how to stay connected, how to participate in different sessions. Our professors are doing their own sessions. We are inviting different experts from the field as well, in particular modules, to deliver different kind of content. We are trying to focus not only on when we are inviting the experts, they always know, doesn't need to be well known, but we expect them to be with experience. So it's not like, because it's important for our students to offer them somebody who's going to explain more practical parts of, let's say, sports marketing. Not only the theory, but for example, if he or she is coming from a football club, to offer them a proper vision of the last or one of the last campaigns they've been running, so they could see how it has been done. Also, we are working with different case studies, and we are also creating our own case studies and different analysis, because it helps the students to make the whole experience more appropriate and more well, closer to the real life. So like I said, for us, the student, it's in the middle of everything, and all we do, we are just trying to help them to make the whole experience as enjoyable as possible. I'm going to show you some examples of our virtual campus. On the left side, you could see this is every single course has something like this. They have the academic plan. So basically a document where they can find all the information about the course, deadlines, the activities, the grading, etc. Instruction message or board where the tutor is going to send the messages about motivating, about some things that's going on. General forum where the students could basically ask some things if they want to share it with the whole group or share some materials they would like to share. And this is the access directly to participate on the webinars. Every single webinar, it's being recorded and it's always in the section of webinars uploaded. So they know that if they cannot participate the next day in the morning, they have the recording there and they could check it and they could watch it. Then the theoretical phase or the theoretical part, it's always divided into some key documents or key notes, some podcasts, and then some examples of case studies, and then they have additional resources. And obviously, the activities are also divided in different parts where they have the possibility to check, okay, this is the activity I have to do, and this is what I need to do. So everything is organized, everything is scheduled in a way that it's very user-friendly. They are not struggling with it because, like I said, prior to even start to study with us, they have the possibility to understand and get familiar with the whole platform because we provide either 1 week or 2 weeks of pre-season where they will understand the whole functioning of the virtual campus. One thing I didn't mention at all, but I'm going to speak a little bit about this, it's the gaming or gamification in general. It's a very nice way how to engage with the students, but like I said, this is not something that it's simple to do because you need to have a proper structure in place like we are trying to have, and right now we are developing a proper gaming to every single course that we are offering, which will be basically based, again, student in the center. They will be able to, the more and the better they will work, they will be able to increase their reputation, get some kind of badges for whatever they will do in order to get some kind of awards as a premium content. So basically the idea is to reward their participation through different sort of premium content and some kind of extra things they could get. This is a new project we are starting right now. That's the reason why I didn't want to speak about it that much, but especially in the virtual world, for many students coming to us that wants to participate in the sport industry, it's the most competitive industry in the world. So to motivate them a little bit more through gaming, it's another way how we want to keep them engaged. So some final learnings, because I think that I think we are still good on time, but some final learnings. I mentioned all these things before, but proactivity, it's very important both on part of the educators and on part of the learners, because educators should be proactive in a way of communicating, motivating, be there for the students and show them that whatever you need, we are here for you. Students, on the other hand, should be proactive in ask for clarifications, ask in general if they have any questions, because if they have the questions, they don't understand something. If they don't understand something, they won't be able to manage properly the whole workload or the course load. Communication, it's very much related with the proactivity. So the whole relationship should be based on a communication, even though it's online. Sometimes it could be through messages, sometimes it could be through podcasts, sometimes it could be through recorded videos, sometimes it could be in live sessions. But it's very important to have some kind of communication. Whatever the educators will decide, stick to that and follow it throughout the course, because it's very important for the students to find some kind of clarity and have a very clear idea where and how to get in touch with you. Familiarity, it's very important to get familiar with the whole environment, with the whole setup, and doesn't matter if it is very pro setup or if it is very basic setup. The basic setup I'm referring to is just to have an access to some kind of Dropbox folder or Google Drive folder where you will leave some materials. It's very important that you will explain how to access it and provide explanation and some kind of tutorials when and how to access it. Obviously, the more comprehensive and more complicated the whole setup will be, the more necessity to provide more information and technical support will be needed. Persistence. This is in general, for the educators to stay persistent throughout the course. If you know that your course is 10 weeks long, try to stay persistent, try to help the students. And even though you will start strong, it's very common mistake for many educators in general. They start very strong the first 2-3 weeks, and then their overall engagement, it's going like this. So it's going down. It's not good for the students, because if they see you at the beginning and then after a few weeks, they have the feeling like you are absent, you're not there, their engagement will go and their persistence to follow the course will go down as well. So the more motivated, and that's related with the point number 5, the more engaged and motivated you will keep them, the better the course will be. Because the learners in general, they like to have some kind of feeling that you care about them, that you are here for them, and then you want to help them. If you will manage to keep them motivated throughout the duration of the course, the reward for you as an educator will be that they will be really happier, they will be more satisfied, and perhaps they will learn what they were supposed to learn. I have a lot of successful stories, but one of my favorite ones is the fact that in one of my online courses a few years ago, I had students that were coming from different parts of the world, and in one activity they were supposed to work in a group. I put them randomly in a group of 4, and those students were from 4 different continents. So there was one student from Africa, one from Asia, one from Europe, and there was another one from the United States, or from the North America. That was the first thing that for all of them, it was the first experience with online learning in general, and all of them were doing a master. So it means that they were staying with us for 1 year and something. And this was one of the first activities they ever had. So they started to work as a group. They created a group of WhatsApp. They've been in touch throughout the whole studies, all the other group activities or assignments, they've been working together. The good thing is that when they finished their studies, they basically created a company. They have never met before, and they actually met first time after several years, but they created a very strong relationship through online platform, through studying with us, through different kind of things they've been going through. They were able to create a very strong relationship among them, and they created a successful company that is working and is existing until now. And it started completely randomly. So even though online could present a lot of critiques, a lot of disadvantages, in my opinion, it offers much more possibilities, much more advantages. And it's up to us, to the educators, to the professors, to the teachers, to motivate the students, to motivate the learners, and to make them feel comfortable so they could enjoy it. Because if they will enjoy it, the overall satisfaction will be higher, and they will definitely get to the point that you want to share with them, which is the basic part of the overall online learning.
At the minute, I suppose it's very difficult to recruit learners for a lot of organizations and groups, because normally we'd have open days and we'd have, come on into the center type days, and there would also be a lot of referrals there from families and different groups. How do you find the best way? Now, I know it's a different situation, but how do you find the best way to recruit for yourselves?
Recruitment of learners, it's tough, because with all due respect, Johan never wanted us to be very aggressive in terms of our marketing strategies. So when we're looking for students in general, it's we are participating in different job fairs. We are participating in different congresses and summits. Usually we have some booth there. But then obviously it's up to students. They know if they want to learn, if they want to prepare themselves to to access the world of sports management or sports marketing. We are at the market, and we are one of those entities that they can count on. They've been different rankings of the top entities around the world. We are usually in the top 10, top 15. So obviously that helps, but that's based on the quality that we are trying to offer. So obviously social media helps a lot, not going to lie about it. And then it's often word of mouth. So it's like if you do something correctly and properly, many students speak, and for every single happy student, you could get like 10, 20, 30 recommendations for the other ones. in their network. So that also helps a lot.
Lukas, thank you very much. In terms of sustainability and sport, the textiles at a lot of sports clubs are very nylon and fabricated. I'm just wondering, do you have a branch of educators creating your clothes locally? Could that be an extension of what you're doing in terms of a workplace for the people in the sports industry afterwards, a continuation?
Yeah, part of some of our programs, because I didn't speak about our program or for our academic portfolio, because for some of our programs, there is no need for official internships, but obviously in some of our programs, the students need to have mandatory internship. Because of that, we are creating a huge network of contacts and agreements with different entities locally and globally. We have academic partners all around the world. It means different football clubs, different sports entities, different Olympic committees, national-wide or international-wide. And that also helps a lot, because then often it happens that if they have some kind of need for new talent, they are coming to us and we are sharing it among our students. And then obviously they could sign up for that and they could try their luck. So nowadays we have a huge amount of partners all around the world. And we are still trying to grow the overall network, which is very, very helpful. And it's very, very useful for these kind of things.
Super, thank you.
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much, Lukas. That was really interesting. As the mother of a 12-year-old boy who's crazy about soccer, I have just, my kudos levels have raised significantly in the last hour. I wanted to ask a question, I suppose, most particularly about, you mentioned that some of the people that are with your institute maybe are coming in having, completed their education at a younger age. And what I wanted to ask was, I heard your point about the fact that there is a certain amount of induction that's done regarding people coming in and learning about the platforms that are going to be used on their courses, etc. In terms of, I suppose, literacy issues that you would come across, whether they be digital literacy issues or issues with study skills or reading and writing, is that something that is done on a case-by-case basis in terms of participants, or is it something that you would tackle across the courses that you would do?
It's a very good question. And for example, we have different levels of education we offer. We start from very fundamental courses, which are mainly for athletes that have actually never studied before. So they need to go through it first. So they will get through the very, very basics. Or we could also offer this kind of courses in some kind of companies. We've been collaborating with some kind of football academies, youth football academies, where kids between 16, 18, 19 years old, it's courses for them. And then when the students are applying for postgraduates or for master, they need to go through some kind of admission interview. So, for example, we are evaluating their profiles. We are evaluating if they are actually good enough and if they have the skills to start with a program like this. Because if they don't, we recommend them, okay, go to the fundamentals first, learn, and come back and continue with us. And it's like, it's like a process. So go step by step instead of just go directly for the master. On the other hand, we are also trying to prepare something which could reply on the question that you just made, because with the professional athletes, obviously, if a World Cup winner or Champions League winner is coming to study with you, you're not going to send him to the fundamentals, because that will not work. So we are trying to provide some kind of supportive courses. So for example, how to use Microsoft Office package, how to use basically how to make a PowerPoint presentation, how to use Word in order to make a document in a Word. This is something we are currently working on. We have one colleague of mine. She's doing a PhD. She's studying about things related with education. And based on her project that she's working on, we are trying to develop a line of this kind of support that we could offer to our students. It's something that we've been always trying to think about it, because obviously, like I said many times before, if you're a professional athlete, I would love to be a tennis player that's been in top 10 in the world and playing 20 years of tennis, because and still have the willingness to start to study and learn, because I could understand that the life will not finish now. And I just want to stay productive and do something with my life. But obviously, having this this kind of tennis player perhaps never played, never studied before. So for him, everything is new. Everything is completely new. So we are trying to help and provide some kind of support. Throughout the course, there could be additional one-on-one session where we could meet and just discuss whatever he or she needs. It's very important for us to show them that we are really supportive and they could count with us all the time. So we try to make it as much personalized as we can, obviously within the limitations, because if we have like right now in the online part, we have more than 200 students in different editions. So that's complicated to make it 100% individual for every single one. But we are trying to stay open and stay connected with them as much as we can in order to provide the support they might ask for. But again, it comes down to their proactivity. If they will not raise a hand and they will not ask, we cannot help. So this is very, very important. Obviously, we could detect something if, for example, the first assignment they will hand you in, it's very, very basic in terms of design, in terms of the whole content. You could ask, do you need some help for the other one? You could provide feedback, which is qualitative, and it's up to them, again, if they want to ask for more or not. Usually they ask, and it's amazing, to be honest. Since I've been working in the position where I'm working, I could tell that we've been dealing with many professional athletes, seriously, World Cup winners, Olympic gold medal winners. And I could tell in 99.9% of them why they did win those things. Because they are really hard workers. They are really diligent. And what they want to do, if they want to do something, they're doing it 100%. And you could see the overall work rate. It's amazing. It's something that it could tell the difference. So sometimes it's much, much easier to work with, let's say, 38 years old athlete than with 23 years old student that has never any previous job. And it's basically trying to induct himself or herself into the sport industry.
Columba, terrific presentation. Vicky, I think your prioritizing of students is the most important part of educating online. Trish, thanks so much. Lots of useful tips, which we can all put into practice no matter what level. Mary, excellent comprehensive presentation, and it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. What I will say, and just first of all, thanks again to all the members for making Lukas so welcome, and for all the AONTAS staff as well for making everything happen today. That it does make a difference, and as Lukas did comment, he says, wow, what a team. So Lukas, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the closure. I really appreciate your kind words. Obviously, in your case, I was lucky because it was very easy to work with you. But the point being is that from our end, like you said, we are trying to treat every single student in the best possible way, because we understand that we often like to present ourselves as a boutique education. So it's not something that we are not looking for a mass of students. We just want to look for the students that actually want to be with us and want to be better, and in order to make the whole industry a better place to work in. And obviously, we just want to make the whole life of the students throughout their time with us as much enjoyable as possible, because that's the main point. Learning by doing, obviously, and having some kind of fun. If we can help with small motivational talks, small pep talks, like we've been doing, it's great. Because, for example, for me, I cannot imagine I will just send a message like, okay, this is it, and you have to do this for the next week. That doesn't work. And I think it's not good. And that's really the difference maker. Sometimes it's just a few kind words, few funny lines, try to make it personalized, try to show that it's not just robotized, it's not automatized. There are real human beings behind everything that what we do. And basically for us, the most important thing, I do believe, it's following the legacy of a great man. Johan was an amazing person. I was lucky enough to meet him several times, speak with him. Always when I was speaking with him, he mentioned something that was really eye-opener for me, and it changed my understanding of many different things. And we are just trying to follow in the footprints of him, and try to make the world a little bit better place, because that's what he always wanted to do.